Okay, so I'm just going to show you another way to find your x and y intercepts. So we did look at this already algebraically, but we can also do this graphically. The calculator I'm most used to is the TI versions, usually TI 83, which is now pretty old, and then there's the TI 84 and the 84 plus. So that's how I'm going to show you what we're going to do to find those intercepts. So I did find this online resource where they do have a graphing calculator. I'm finding it pretty easy to use, but as I'll show you when I'm working on this, there is a little bit of a delay, but that is okay. Now, a couple things to remember: that if you want to find intercepts, the other value will be 0. So at an x-intercept, your y value equals 0. This helps you more with the algebra when we're doing it. The other part we just have to know is another name for an x-intercept is zeros, right? Because that's what makes your whole function equal 0, is if you find those x-intercepts and plug them in. Now for your y-intercept, just again to know, is that x equals 0. And now that is very helpful when we're using the graphing calculator. So I'm just going to get out of this for a moment and go to the calculator, which was here, and take a look. So the example I was using, I did actually have it in there already, and I'm just gonna blow this up a bit. Let me start over here, and I'll take this out here. So you want to start by going to your y equals. So if I get out of this for a moment, okay, so this is when you open up your calculator, exactly what you would see. So you want to start by hitting the y equals button. So the y equals is that top left-hand button, and then you're going to plug in your equation. Now, when it comes to letters, even if you have different letters, try just to use the x button, because if you're trying to use those other letters, it often won't work out unless the calculators have changed. So I'm doing x squared plus 2x minus 24. Okay. Now, when you start with your windows, I'm just going to have it in our standard windows. If I do zoom 6, it resets all your windows. Now, what I want to note here is that I can see, based on my windows, I can see 10 in every direction. So I can see up until positive 10 on the right here for my x-axis, positive 10 going vertically up, and then in the negative direction, I see negative 10 going to the left and negative 10 going down. So when you are graphing and you want to find your intercepts, you're going to have to be able to see those intercepts. So I clearly see my x-intercepts, but I don't see my y-intercept. So I need to make my windows more negative. So to do that, I'm going to hit Windows. And just reviewing your windows, this saying x min means you can see going in the negative direction up to negative 10. X max means if you're going to the right, you're going to see up to positive 10, and every tick is going up by 1s. That's what the scale is telling you. The same thing is true for your y min, except now we're looking up and down instead of left and right. So we can see down 10, up 10, and every tick is going up by 1. So I'm going to change this value because I do need it bigger, or not bigger, but more negative than negative 10. So I'm just going to try negative 30. And if you try something else, that's okay, as long as we can see those intercepts. And then we'll hit graph once more. And we now perfectly see our intercepts. We see the 2x intercepts and your y-intercept. Now your y-intercept is always the easier one to find. So what you want to do is press second trace and hit number 1 for value. This allows you to enter any value you want in, but just for x. So when I hit one value, you'll see that we now have x equals. As long as you remember that every y-intercept x equals 0, you plug in 0 and hit enter. Now we'll see our y-intercept is at negative 24, and there was only one y-intercept, so now we're done with that. Now we want to figure out your x-intercepts. So that's when you have to remember that another name for x-intercept is 0. So I'm going to go down to number 2 here and press enter. And then when it does our left bound, right bound, it depends on what's happening with your line. So when I'm looking at the left-hand side and I have this negative slope, left bound is going to be above my x-axis. And now it doesn't really matter where you have it as long as you have it above. So you'll hit enter, and then see how it changes to right bound. So when it says right bound, you need to go over the x-axis. If you don't have one value above and one value below, you're going to get an error. So now I go below, I hit enter, then it will say to guess, I hit enter one more time, and then I get a clear value that my intercept is happening at -6, one y 0. So one of my intercepts is -6. Now that only shows me one, and there are two, so I need to find the other one following those steps. So I'll do second trace, pick number 2 for value, and I want to come all the way over to the other side. And again, there's a bit of a delay, but that's okay, we're getting there. So I'm going all the way over to the other side. Now, when the slope of your line is going upwards and it asks you left bound, right, then you're going to be below the line. So hit enter, and then it will ask you right bound. You go above the x-axis, press enter. It will say to guess, press enter one more time. And now we get another clear value that our x-intercept is 4 when y equals 0. So your intercepts, we have y -24, and for your x-intercepts, you have -6 and +4. And if we factored this out and solve setting each factor equal to 0, we would get those same values. As always, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please subscribe, and if there's any other video I could do for you, just let me know. Thanks for watching.